Good afternoon, everyone. The post-lunch slot always has its own challenges, and then to have to listen to a lawyer as well for half an hour or so, I know must be difficult, but I'm hoping that what we'll actually talk about today will be of some help. So our view is that people drive our business and are not necessarily a cost to our business. But I think that what does set us apart is our focus on what's called employee engagement.
We're consultants to BTSR, and you might be wondering, indeed I hope you are wondering, what BTSR can do to support in all this.
As part of my HR role, I have to complete the annual training report that they request each year in January.
We are the evaluators for the BTSR self-assessment, and we hope you'll find the session interesting.
We've only agreed to do this on the grounds of it being a workshop and not some kind of attempt to dispense all our wisdom, because we know from already the visits we've done there's some genuine high performers represented in this room, so it's great to have you here and to hope to tempt out from you some good practice.
I'm here just to meet people who are like me, who work in the industry, work in a very challenging time, to get ideas, to get insight, to get a picture of what best practice looks like.
So what we'd like you to do is spend just 10 minutes looking at the propositions, seeing if you agree that these are explainers of success, because if they're not, there's no point in going for them.
There's a perception that management is done to people, and it's a kind of middle management piece, and I think increasingly leadership is the buzzword.
Yeah, leadership.
And you talk about people in a leadership group because people don't necessarily consider themselves to be managers because they don't aspire.
So change management to leadership.
Yeah.
They need to make sense, they also need to be helpful. That's the test of management, so of course they actually need to take you further forward.
With management you've got good leadership and you've got people to inspire to, and you've got that great role models.
And they kind of help put everything into context because, filling in a report, it can become just a sort of thing that you do on an annual basis where you can actually see what you're doing in context with what others are doing.
The central thing for me out of the Digital Britain report for our industry is that the creative industries and the combination of creative industries and technology industries are central to UK growth.
I think e-learning is brilliant. The technology involved these days shouldn't be a question of should we do it. It should be a given and we should be doing it.
The internet isn't for watching things, the internet's for doing things. Yeah. And it's that kind of e-learning that works.
How many of you use e-learning?
We create video content for some other people who use them as e-learning.
And would you echo this thing that we're just saying about how you have to have a very clear idea about your audience and what you really want them to take from it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we provide short course training, and so I think the blended learning is absolutely the right place. I mean, it's quite time consuming for us to weave it in well.
Colin absolutely assures me this is a really practical session.
I'm limiting myself to literally, a 5-minute opening bit, and then I'm going to put it, down to the floor and everyone else.
I like the fact that in the blurb for this session, Colin says he's going to introduce a simple model, because simple models are what we all need, because they're the only ones that we ever remember.
Who of you attended last year's conference? Yeah? Better? Yeah? Why is it better for you?
It's more interactive.
Okay, I'm really glad somebody said that, because this was all this session is going to be about. Yeah, it's going to be about you. So I just want to warm up by, in pairs, I'd like you each to discuss something that you have learned, something new you've learned in the last 12 months and how you learnt it.
Things have improved even this year over last year. If I had to do more for next year, more workshops, more case studies, really kind of very nuts and bolts stuff. We saw that in some of the workshops. We saw stress management workshops, for example, really practical. This is show and tell. This is what we've done. This is what works for us. And you can use parts of this in your own environment.
The trick is to actually, when people come to you and say, we need a training course, we need some coaching. No, they don't. Why do you need it? What do people need to be able to do? What do they need to learn? What do they need to be able to do better, do differently? And largely, I think L&D should be about the behavioural marathon rather than the educational sprint.
Daniel Wayne's session was really quite lively. I mean, he's looking for practical solutions, training on a shoestring.
Maximise and leverage talent whilst you have it. Yeah? They're with you, make the most of them. They are unique. They are your unique selling proposition. Yeah? When people actually say, well, you know, what's the difference between us? I say, your people. Because as far as I know, your people are your people, not theirs. So maximise them whilst you have them. And arguably, the more that you look after them whilst they're with you, the longer they'll stay with you once the upturn inevitably comes.
Having great people is only part of the story. Having a good, great environment to work is only part of the story. Bring those two together and you get that amazing impact of people giving discretionary effort that Cliff Flewitt talked about at Lewis Silkin. When you get staff doing what's off the job description because it's the right thing to do, then you motor. And that is at the heart of great learning and development strategies.
Nigel Payne did a very great wrap-up here at the end, talking about, you know, the stresses that we're all under. Everybody has to, as he said, you know, run faster or you will be food.
This is from the Timberland window in Oxford Street. If you're not fast, you're food. Timberland were referring to their running shoes, but I think it applies to companies. It also applies to people working in learning and development. You've got to move fast now. You've got to engage. You've got to engage at the speed at which things are changing.
To be honest, I expect it to be a lot more old-fashioned, and it's not been like that at all.
It's a shame it's not more often. It's just once a year.
This is a quote by Drucker, which seems to fit. Drucker got fed up with all these 4-page definitions of innovation, so he wrote his own. And that's what he came out with, just a few words. Change which creates a new dimension of performance. And it struck me forcibly today that you're all in the innovation business. This is what you do. You build change that creates a new level of performance. And if it doesn't, you shouldn't be doing it. So I think you can wear that badge. You're in the innovation business. You're in the change business. You're in the learning business.